Last thing we did to the Ford Ranger was fix the spare tire. And now that the spare tire is fixed, it needs someplace to live. I'll show you what the problem is. The spare tire on the truck used to live right here. I don't really want it under the truck, so let's figure something else out, shall we? My idea is to mount it right here up against the side of the bed on the inside behind the driver. That way it doesn't create a blind spot. But there is nothing there to mount it to. So today what we're gonna do is we are gonna make a bracket that is supported somewhere in here and then also allows us to bolt the spare tire to it. And I've got some ideas. So let's go in the shop and I'll show you what I've been working on. Here's what I've been working on. I had some spare leftover 2x4 rectangle tube, and I decided I'm going to use that for my spare tire mount. This piece is almost exactly the thickness of that top of that bed rail. So this is going to mount flush with the bed rail up underneath it. If this is the top of my bed rail, my plan is that this is going to mount flush up underneath it about here. We'll weld it in place right up here, right along that edge. And then at the bottom, it's going to sit flush with some of the curvature that comes out, and I will weld it there and also on each side. I've got it so it's curved now and it will meet those edges. And we'll just weld it in the 3 spots there. Then I drilled 2 holes and I've got some grade 8 bolts. And I took another piece and I slotted it. So what we're gonna do here is make this removable. Nope, there we go. So that's gonna be removable. So this will slide up just like that. And the reason I slotted it this way is so I can slide it up and into place. And then once the spare tire's in, it can't pop off because it's trying to pull up this way. This would be the bottom of the bed. So this will be mounted here, spare tire's here. It can't be forced up and off, but yet I can take it off. I can just slide it right off. Not a big deal. And I'm going to tack weld these 2 nuts in place so they're permanent. Then my third piece of metal is curved this way. This is just rounded enough to fit on the inside of that rim where the lug nuts are. I'll be able to get 1, 2, and 3. That's gonna mount right up here like that. And I will weld that, probably tack it at the top and the bottom too, and then weld each side. Spare tire will mount against this. And then if I don't want the spare tire in the truck, the only thing I'll have left is this piece, just like that, which is flush. Not intruding into the truck at all. It should work. Anytime you're doing anything with lug nuts and you're adding it for the spare, make sure the lug nut you get is the same size as the lug nuts on the truck. That way it's usable as a spare lug nut, or you only need the 1 tire tool. So then these will go here and get pulled through. There'll be 3 of them, 1, 2, 3. And the wheel will just bolt to that. And it'll be sitting like that. And I'll just drop pieces everywhere, but don't worry, that's what welding's for. So next step, welding. We're gonna get these and these welded up. Let's go. I've got these bolts run in snug so that these nuts are up against the inner wall of this piece. I'm gonna tack them in place at the top, flip it over, and do it on the bottom again. That way they're hitting 2 spots, and that locks them in place. And I got a new welding helmet. So let's do this. Okay, let's find out if I welded too much and these bolts are stuck to these nuts. Okay. Okay, that worked out just like I wanted. So these are tacked in place. All right, let's go weld up the rest of that. Brown on one side, then turn over. Probably melt that plastic, so let's just do this one another. There we go. Okay, I've still got to clean it up, but I've welded both sides, and then, well, that's really ugly right there. That's too hot. But I just tacked the top as well, which was completely unnecessary. But let's clean these sides up. Okay, these welds are as cleaned up as I need them to be. We'll primer on and paint here in a little bit, but let's move on to that piece that's in the truck. Now we're at the part where we're going to mount this into the bed, at least the main brace. I have ground all my surfaces that are going to be welded on this piece and on the bed. And this one, like I said, is just going to slip up under the rail and slide right over to there and centered like that. So it's going to sit flush with this piece in the bed. It's underneath this rail. So that way, if I take these two bolts out, there's nothing here. It's unobtrusive. I can still use all the bed space. At least that's the plan. Let's weld this in and see what happens. I've jammed this pry bar behind here, so this is flush up against that. Better see. We'll get a better weld this way. There will be less gap, hopefully. That's ugly, but it's there. Now a couple tacks down here. We've got that tacked in place as much as it needs to be. That'll perfectly hold that tire. And moving on to the next step. My wheel mounting piece is right here, and I've got my wheel on top. And as you can see, my original plan was drill here, here, and here, and do studs. However, in the name of maybe efficiency, maybe not, my new plan is I'm going to drill one hole in the middle for one stud, and I'm going to use this old pulley to hold everything in place. That way I don't have to go buy more lug studs. And I think that'll probably hold it. So we're going to mark the center of that for just one, and hopefully this will be pretty much done except for painting. Does that look about the middle to everybody? They go, close enough. Let's go put that on the drill press and punch a hole. Got our piece put in the drill press. I've got it centered right there. We're going to use a little bit of cutting fluid. Safety glasses, always important with drill presses. And let's go. Low speed, cutting fluid. You don't want to burn your bits up. Nice and easy. Probably 2 more steps because we want to be able to get this tapered piece just a little too big so we can pull it through. Okay. There we go. Now we're just at the point where these splines are right up against that hole, and that's what we want. We will put it through from the back side. We'll put a big washer on here and a lug nut, and we will pull that the rest of the way through, and that'll be our mounting surface. So let's do that. Okay, as you can see, we pulled that up flush. We're good to go. We'll back this off. Move all of our parts and pieces. Those can stay there. They want to stay there. Those are there now. It's fine. Okay, now let's go finish putting this thing together and see how it works. All right. Okay, so we've got our base welded in. That's great. This piece, again, slots are going to make it slide up. Okay, that slides up. I need to tighten those down. Okay, these bolts that we welded in are 17 mil. So I really should have used standard. That way this is all the same size, but that's not what I had on hand, so I didn't. Those are snugged up. That's not going anywhere. Even if it could go anywhere, the only way it could really come off is to go down. And that won't happen because the tire sitting on the bed floor is going to prevent that. So let's try this. there. That goes there. There we go. That tire is going nowhere. Okay. On the outside, it gives it that nice 50s and 60s spare tire look that we wanted. The spare tire's up and out of the way. It's not underneath anymore. It's not just sliding around the bed. So we're gonna call that one done. The only thing I have left to do is I'll take that back apart and I will clean it up and prime it and paint it, but you don't need to see me do that. So that's gonna do it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.